Wow, we're hearing that these strapping, strong Western males are actually going to be doing their part and volunteering to go fight in Ukraine. Nope, they're not going to do that. They're just going to tell other people to do it, while they, of course, virtue signal that you and all the other poor people must sacrifice their lives for, of course, their vanity. As now we have a lot of crazy, insane, shocking developments coming from the Russian-Ukraine conflict, as it looks like the Russians have now started to use a new technique that is making the biggest difference in this conflict. All of this is there are still talks about a potential limousine attack against Vladimir Putin, as Donald Trump came out and had some very tough words for Vladimir Putin publicly. All of this is there's a bigger conflict shaping up right now in the Middle East with more tough talk against the country of Iran. Let's just get into it right now, as I think the video that I played in the beginning of this broadcast really does highlight the kind of folly of Western man. As right now the British Army is playing commercials showing soldiers taking a break, turning off their radios, stopping their movements to allow someone to pray, as their recruitment numbers very low. You look at American recruitment military numbers, very low. You look at the military males that are incapable of passing any kind of physicals. Yeah, that's worrying here, specifically with the way that this situation is developing. My source is coming to me and saying, yeah, there's a major breakdown of communications. The peace talks have now gone to a very low point. I was told specifically, Luke, prepare. That's just what I heard. All of this, as just a couple hours ago, we got more crazy, sensationalistic news that Putin's car fleet limo was blown up in a huge blast, as allegedly there are also reports of Putin searching his security detail. What really is going on here? Well, it's kind of difficult to tell here, as of course this is the video footage that we got here, and I have my own particular questions about this, but automatically a lot of people are going on and saying, hey, Zelensky 3 days ago said that Vladimir Putin's not going to be alive for very long. Zelensky was talking about how he was old and he was not probably going to, make it for that much longer. Again, you say that about Biden. Okay. Putin, though, I don't know. It doesn't look that way, especially with the marathon press conferences he holds, the conversations he holds, and the way he kind of presents himself to the world comparatively to other older elders of our diplomatic corps here. But again, a lot of people are coming out and saying, oh my God, the United States, the CIA tried to assassinate Putin. And there was a previous coup d'etat attempt that was pretty serious, specifically with Yevgeny Prigozhin of Wagner, who within 24 hours was able to get a significant portion of the Russian military and the mercenary base of it to position themselves in a way to oust Putin. That, of course, never happened, and then Yevgeny went into hiding, and then he went into an airplane, and that airplane kind of blew up in midair because of, coincidences and accidents that always happen in Russia against the political opponents of Vladimir Putin. Whoops, it is. But I have a couple questions, because I know a lot of people are automatically saying, yes, they did it. They tried to take out Putin. A couple questions here that even Mario Nafal connects. I started to connect it to, specifically asking the question, this is in the street. There's no FSB. There's no security here. There's no reports of any casualties here. It looks like there's an engine fire that just happened here, with very loose extrapolations of people saying, yes, that's Putin's limousine. I don't see any official kind of connections here other than just pure speculation. And this could be to create more of just the false Western narratives, which we see here overwhelmingly, that are just a little exhausting by now. I'll just be honest. Like, there's so much fake news by all sides here. The first casualty of any kind of conflict is the truth. And that's exactly what we're seeing here throughout all of this. And these war of words that are unfolding right now really are a little bit ridiculous. As John Bolton, a man who has always wanted other people to sacrifice their lives for his cause for neoconservative policies. A man who is a war hawk but never actually done any legitimate real fighting himself just came out in an article in Politico saying that he thinks he and Putin are friends. Bolton says Trump is getting manipulated. Again, releasing scuttlebutt here, trying to push the world leaders apart. And it looks like Putin and Trump are at odds with each other with a very public war of words that we're going to be getting into here in a little bit. As now, allegedly, there's also a Gallup poll showing how 69% of Americans want to sustain military aid to Ukraine at current levels, as other people are saying. Yeah, that's just warmongering rhinos wanting to fill up the coffers of the military-industrial complex. As I strongly question the poll, I strongly question the wording that was used here, as overwhelmingly the consensus with Donald Trump when he became president of the United States that a lot of people supported him for was him saying, I'm going to end this. I'm going to end this day one. We're a little bit past that, and now we're at the point of breakdown of communications, which we warned you about and said, hey, a couple things to look out here as soon as this process began. And again, I hate patting myself here on the shoulder, but again, we told you this is going to be extremely complicated. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be day one. There's a lot of things to unravel, and there's a lot of different countries involved here that Donald Trump also wants to make side deals specifically with. So this is going to be a very complicated, convoluted process that there's going to be a lot of powers at play here that are going to try to sabotage it. It looks like those powers were successful, and now we're going to have the kind of perpetual continuation of this conflict and war. We told you this at the beginning of this. We told you this a couple days ago. We told you this a couple weeks ago. And what my source is coming to me saying, hey, this is looking pretty severe here. It does look like we are on the precipice of a very serious situation. Before telling you more specifically about the tough words from Donald Trump against Vladimir Putin, we want to tell you about LukeUnfiltered.com. If you haven't signed up for that, what the hell are you doing? Why? Excuse me. Sign up right now. It's easy. It's quick. It's simple. Click the link down in the description below. Click right here. Put in your information and just check your spam box. Google hates us. Check your spam box. We apologize if there's kind of any inconvenience for that, but that's just what we have to deal with. Once you get that email, you get a login. 3 master classes, 13 plus years of video, exclusive merchandise only available for members, a forum to talk to like-minded members, Telegram to talk to me, as well as the ability to be a part of the show by literally videotaping a question, setting it on the Telegram channel. I will play it here when it's related to a specific topic that I am talking about here. Just please do not curse, because this is a family-friendly show here. We got one video that someone asked, a question and made a statement, and it's just very expletive laden. We don't, family-friendly show here, so I might just do a special Q&A just for members soon as well. But we do range days, we do nature hikes, we do a lot of fun stuff. I was out and about in Miami, and randomly just walking around some of the communities here. A lot of people are like, "Hey, I love your stuff." I'm like, I got to do another meetup here, so we're going to do another meetup very soon here in Miami with members of LukeUnfiltered.com. That's what you sign up, building communities, building friendships and partnerships. And again, I met some really awesome people through some of these meetups, so we're going to do it again very soon. Now, let's talk about Trump lashing out now against Putin, as the Daily Mail has a very intriguing title that always has people clicking, saying Trump lashes out at Putin in emotional 2-word rebuke as Ukraine peace talks collapse. As now we have Trump saying that he is very angry and pissed off at Putin, specifically addressing this during an NBC interview, as these are the comments that he's making publicly. Now imagine the comments that he's making privately, as the two have talked officially a couple days ago. Donald Trump was very optimistic after that talk, and there was a concession deal made saying, okay, we're going to implement a slow ceasefire. First, we're not going to go after the infrastructure. Then we're not going to go after the Black Sea. And then as soon as that happened, there was fighting. The Ukrainians said that the Russians attacked their hospital, so the Ukrainians made a deliberate onslaught, very big escalatory attack on their energy infrastructure. which was the stipulation, which was the first step in all of this. And then the Russians now are retaliating with these swarm drone attacks that air defenses cannot stop. And the Russians are having a lot of success. Instead of launching one drone, waiting for a few minutes, what they started to do, and they did this in Odessa, now they're doing this in the Zaporizhia region, from all the war fighting and the war maps that I'm looking at and all the intel that I'm getting, they're instead of just sending one, they're like, okay, we're going to line them all up. We're going to send like 100. We're going to send 177, all that one. And then the Ukrainian air defenses kind of collapse here, and the Russians are making significant gains here when it comes to destroying Russian territory. And now Trump is pissed off at them.
Just hours ago, President Trump called me to tell me he is, quote, pissed off with Russia's President Putin and threatened to impose secondary tariffs on Russia's oil. Quote, if Russia and I are unable to make a deal on stopping the bloodshed in Ukraine, and if I think it was Russia's fault, which it might not be, but if I think it was Russia's fault, I am going to put secondary tariffs on all oil coming out of Russia. Mr. Trump said 25% tariffs on Russian oil could happen any moment and told me he plans to speak with President Putin this week. The president told me, quote, I was very angry, pissed off when Putin started getting into Zelensky's credibility and started talking about new leadership in Ukraine. Just hours ago.
Yep. All of this right after Zelensky came out and started to make public pleas, demanding that the West respond to these Russian onslaught drone attacks that we just talked about. It wasn't 177. It was 172 drones that were sent overnight that the Ukrainians are having difficulties with their Western tech stopping and avoiding from being able to hit their targets. Now, Zelensky, a couple weeks ago, this is specifically from the Western point of view, was the one that was coming out and saying no to the minerals deal, saying no to the debt, saying no to direct talks with Putin. He has since changed his tune, and originally he was one of the first kind of naysayers in this peace deal. And now it looks like the onus is on Putin, as Donald Trump here is highlighting how, Putin now is the one that is not coming to the negotiation table, who's, quote, not serious about peace deal. That is what is being described right now as Vladimir Putin isn't just launching more aggressive drone and military attacks against the Ukrainians. He's also, of course, going to be claiming a lot of the Ukrainian territory as his. Now, Donald Trump also is very serious about making significant moves in Greenland. He has since escalated his rhetoric and not taken military action off of the table when it comes to taking over the Denmark portion here of the Arctic Circle. Now, when we look at Canada, when we look at Denmark, and we look at the United States, we could see why Donald Trump wants these key coveted territories, specifically with just the huge amounts of natural resources. Now, with the consideration and talks about these ice caps melting and new rare earth minerals being kind of released here, and potentially new territories for safe havens if there's a polar shift, highlights how Donald Trump isn't playing. Donald Trump also came out and had very strong words against Iran, saying specifically, you guys better do an Iran deal. You guys better stop trying to work on some nuclear bomb here, or we're going to bomb the crap out of you like you never saw before. That's not his exact quote verbatim, but that's what he's saying right now, as Iran has very close ties to Russia, and the Russian war machine has been boosted significantly with the significant increase of the drones that they're getting from Iran that they're using in this conflict. That has made a big difference in this theater of conflict. Now, the New York Times also came out with a very surprising article talking about the direct United States secret military partnership with Ukraine, describing in great detail how the CIA helped, coordinated, planned, utilized, and weaponized the Ukrainians to specifically go after Russian targets in Russian territory, sabotaging a lot of their supply units, a lot of their arms depots, and making significant progress against trying to beat down the Russian war machine that has been activated here throughout all of this fighting. Now, what we learn from this kind of New York Times article is that we were far more involved than we were letting on to. Because if you remember, the United States was like, oh, the Ukrainians are just doing this. Especially under the Biden administration when they were escalating things very significantly. Like, oh, gee whiz. Those Ukrainians, we're going to tell them not to do this. Oh, we're going to wag the finger. They really escalated here. As the Biden administration, Blinken, and all these other kind of neoliberal, neocon warmongers were slowly pushing the red lines, which is a dangerous scenario, which is a dangerous situation to do here, specifically with the things that are on the line here. Now, this article, again, very eye-opening to just all of the things happening behind the scenes that we were told, no, it's not happening. No way, as reported by the New York Times previously beforehand. Now, there's a lot of people saying, yeah, it's going to be World War III. It's just going to be conscription. Yeah. Now, whatever you might take from these kind of sensationalistic Mirror and The Sun articles, it is important to note here that we are not in a good position. This is not a position that is good. This is not a position that a lot of people thought they were going to be in. This is a position that slowly and surely could escalate here to something very serious and something that could affect all of us. There's two roads that humanity is on. One, all energy is released, peace is made, trade is established, and people are able to successfully transact with each other in a free capitalistic world that utilizes us being able to cooperate and work with each other. The other road, World War III apocalypse, just doomsday scenario of doom, gloom, and mass genocide. I don't know about you, but I want to go. I want to go to that good place. There's still a bunch of neocons, sociopaths, and warmongers that are slowly propelling us to that crazy path. And I think with the developments happening today, we slowly shifted towards that dangerous path. That's my opinion. What do you think of my analysis? If you liked it, share it with your friends and family members. Sign up to LukeUnfiltered.com. That's how you truly support this independent media organization so we grow, expand, and build. I want to be there. I want to be on the ground. I want to report some wild stuff for you guys. You guys could help me do that. Sign up to LukeUnfiltered.com. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more all here exclusively on YouTube.com/WeAreChange.